Hi, seventh graders. So today we're going to start our study of poetry. And I know a lot of you go, poetry, I can't write poetry. I don't know how to rhyme things. I hate poetry. So first of all, let's take a deep breath. Second of all, poetry doesn't have to rhyme. We're going to be using the literary devices that you practiced in your pre-test. So they don't have to rhyme. They just have to create imagery. So to get you to understand a little bit about what I'm thinking, I'm going to read to you the first couple of pages of my favorite poetry book, Love That Dog by Sharon Creech, just to give you a sense of the direction that we're going to go in. Jack, room 105, Miss Stretchberry, September 13th. I don't want to, because boys don't write poetry, girls do. And probably a lot of you are thinking the same thing. September 21st, I tried. Can't do it. Brain's empty. September 27th. I don't understand the poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens and why so much depends upon them. If that is a poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens, then any words can be a poem. You've just got to make short lines. And that's really what we're going to be practicing with. That's a strategy we're going to use. Any words can be a poem. You just have to make short lines. And not only that, you have to create imagery. You have to still have meaning. You still have to, in some ways, tell a story. But you're really going to be using your senses. You're going to be using your sight, your sound, whatever, what things look like, what they sound like, what they feel like, what they taste like. And we're going to be doing that through the use of literary devices. However, before we jump feet first into literary devices, we're going to start our poetry unit with a practice that I like to call found poetry, which means we're going to start with a piece of text and we're going to pull out of that text a poem. We're going to find one in text. You're not going to add any words. You're not going to rearrange any words. You're just going to pull words that create a really powerful image from the words that somebody else already wrote. So in the next slide, we're going to take a look at a passage from Because of Winn-Dixie, and I'm going to show you how you can find poetry. So we're going to start finding a poem from this text from the book Because of Winn-Dixie. So your first task is to read the entire text and then try to figure out what image or what meaning do you want to pull from it. So I'm going to read it first and then we'll pull out some imagery that I think would make a good poem. We walked, and Winn-Dixie followed right behind us. It was a huge yard, and I had never been all the way back in it. When we got to a big old tree, we stopped. Look at this tree, Gloria said. I looked up. There were bottles hanging from just about every branch. There were whiskey bottles and beer bottles and wine bottles, all tied on with string. Some of them were clanking against each other and making a spooky kind of noise. Me and Winn-Dixie stood and stared at the tree, and the hair on top of his head rose up a little bit, and he growled deep in his throat. Gloria Dump pointed her cane at the tree. What you think about this tree? I said, I don't know. Why are all those bottles on it? To keep the ghosts away, Gloria said. What ghosts? The ghost of all the things I'd done wrong. I looked at all the bottles on the tree. You did that many things wrong? I asked her. Mm-hmm, said Gloria. More than that. But you're the nicest person I know, I told her. Don't mean I haven't done bad things, she said. There's whiskey bottles on there, I told her, and beer bottles. Child, said Gloria Dump, I know that. I'm the one who put 'em there. I'm the one who drank what was in 'em. My mama drank, I whispered. I know it, Gloria Dump said. The preacher says that sometimes she couldn't stop drinking. Mm-hmm, said Gloria again. So now I want to look through this poem, this passage, and I want to find an image. And I really was struck by this image of this tree with hanging bottles that clanked and made spooky sounds. So I'm only going to highlight some stuff that really focuses on that image. So as I look at the post, I don't want anything about me and Winn-Dixie because it's not about India Opal, and it's not about Winn-Dixie. It's not about Gloria Dump. But what it is about is a big old tree, and it's about bottles hanging from just about every branch. Whiskey bottles, beer bottles, wine bottles, all tied on a string, clanking against each other making a spooky kind of noise. And then there's some other things. I mean, I don't need anything about Winn-Dixie or the little girl. I don't need anything about Gloria Dump. If I wanted to, I could get into more about why they are there. So what do you think about this tree? No dialogue. Why are all those bottles on it? To keep the ghosts away. The ghosts of all the things I've done wrong. And I don't think I need any of this stuff. So I'm going to go to the next page and I'll see if there's anything else I want to keep. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go back and reread it and then maybe finally pull it all together to write a finished poem. So on this page, I don't know, I don't think I want any of this stuff because I don't think this really pertains to what I was doing with the actual imagery of the trees on the bottle. So let's look what I come up with on the last page. So as I looked at my text where I had crossed out stuff that I didn't want, the thing that kept coming to me was I really wanted to create an image of that tree with the bottles clanking and making noise, because it's kind of a spooky kind of an image. So even though I left some other text uncrossed out in my first draft, I really decided to focus this poem on just the image of the bottles on the trees. So for a found poem, you're not going to add your own words. You're not going to swap the position of words in a sentence. You're just going to choose those pieces of the text that help you tell a story and help you create an image. So here's my found poem from Because of Winn-Dixie. We got to a big old tree. There were bottles hanging from just about every branch. Whiskey, beer, and wine bottles all tied on with string, clanking against each other, making a spooky kind of noise. So you notice I took out some more words, the ands. I didn't get into anything with character. This is really just an image of the tree. So I could go back into that and I could make another poem. I maybe could talk about the ghost that she's trying to chase away, or all the bad things that she's done. I could talk about the drinking. But this particular poem really, to me, had this imagery of the tree and the bottles hanging from it. So what I want you guys to do is go back into the text of Because of Winn-Dixie in this lesson, and I want you to create a couple of different poems using the same text. You'll notice I stuck to my original idea that any words can be a poem. You just have to make short lines. So you see that here, I made short lines here. I made a short line here. I don't have complete sentences. I'm not worried about punctuation because I want short lines to give it rhythm and to give it a flow. So any words can be a poem. You just have to make short lines. Go into that text of Because of Winn-Dixie and find a couple of poems that really tell a story or paint an image. So good luck.